Alright, so let's get right into it. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. You know the image they've been selling for years, the perfect power couple. Always polished, always rolling up in designer clothes, looking completely untouchable. Their life plastered all over Instagram looks like a total fantasy. A gorgeous family, insane power, and a love story for the ages. But we gotta ask, what if it's all just a house of cards? And get this, sources have been telling us for a while now that behind the staged photo ops and those practiced smiles, the reality is something else entirely. We're talking about whispers of public spats, icy glares when they think the cameras are off, and a ton of simmering resentment. The insiders say the Javanka marriage isn't just strained, it's totally fracturing under the weight of all the political drama and family feuds. So, we did the digging, and we're about to break down the 8 biggest clues that have everyone convinced their flawless world is about to go kaboom. First up, the ice-cold public appearances. And you don't even have to look hard for this one. That whole perfectly in love image they managed for years, we're seeing it crumble in real time. Now, sources have been whispering about this for ages. An insider famously told Radar Online way back in 2022 that the two were fighting constantly, calling the marriage toxic. And that bad blood allegedly started spilling out everywhere. Get this, people at a yacht party in Miami claimed they acted like total strangers, just mingling on opposite ends of the boat. Seriously, who does that? And it's not just gossip. The camera doesn't lie. Remember how their signature move was constant hand-holding? They were attached at the hip. But look at the recent pics. They pop up at these huge events like Jeff Bezos' wedding in Italy, but the vibe is just off. That easy chemistry is gone, replaced with this stiff, awkward posing. It's feeding this whole narrative that they arrive together, force a smile for the cameras, and then immediately drift apart. It's not a marriage anymore, it's a performance. And it looks like they're forgetting their lines. Alright, clue number 2, and this one is a political bombshell that we're hearing tore Javanka apart. January 6th. See, for 4 years in the White House, they were a total united front. But after the riot, the story goes, their game plan completely blew up. We're hearing Jared saw the writing on the wall. He allegedly saw his father-in-law as political kryptonite and wanted to bounce, get back to the private sector, and save their social status fast. And to do that, he reportedly pushed Ivanka to do the unthinkable, ditch her own dad. You can imagine how that went over. Ivanka was trapped. Her husband on one side and the father she's famously loyal to on the other. Her entire identity is the Trump brand. It's not just a political move, it's her family. And if you're looking for receipts, check out their testimonies to the January 6th committee. Jared was in there for hours, and sources said his intel was helpful. But Ivanka, we're hearing she played it way more close to the chest. This is what insiders say created the ultimate conflict: Jared's business brain versus Ivanka's family loyalty. So the million-dollar question remains, are they playing for Team Kushner or Team Trump? Because we're hearing they're not on the same side anymore. Alright, so you think all this drama started in Washington? Nope, not even close. We're hearing the Javanka union was shaky from day one, with major family drama coming from both sides. Turns out nobody was thrilled with this match in the beginning. First up, the Kushners. The huge issue? Religion. They're a powerful Orthodox Jewish family, and Ivanka wasn't. Word is Jared's parents were so against it, the pressure actually forced them to break up back in 2008. And we know this for a fact because Jared admitted it in his own book. So for the wedding to happen, Ivanka had to convert. We're talking a year of intense study with a rabbi. Now, she says it was a beautiful personal journey, but let's be real, it was a requirement to get into the family. That's the kind of pressure that can seriously blow up down the line. But it wasn't just his family. Over on the Trump side, we're hearing Donald's approval of Jared was lukewarm at best. And get this, turns out Trump's dream son-in-law wasn't Jared. It was NFL superstar Tom Brady. The New York Times reported Trump would joke to his aides, "I could have had Tom Brady. Instead I got Jared Kushner." Ouch. He even reportedly dissed Jared's physique, telling Patriots owner Robert Kraft that Jared was half the size of Tom Brady's forearm. That is ice cold. So let's recap. You've got his parents making demands, and you've got her dad constantly measuring him against a football legend. It's not a marriage, it's just okay, so most guys have to deal with in-laws, but Jared Kushner's situation, it's on a completely different planet. We're talking about the elephant in every room, the super intense public relationship between Ivanka and her father, Donald Trump. And let's be honest, this has always been way more than a daddy's girl thing. It's a key part of the Trump brand and a total minefield for any husband. Donald has never been shy about showering Ivanka with praise, sometimes praise that makes everyone else just cringe. It created this powerful, almost unbreakable bond between them. And where does that leave Jared? We're hearing he's often the third wheel in his own marriage. The body language experts have a field day with this. They point out how Ivanka looks so relaxed and happy showing affection to her dad, but then you see her with Jared and suddenly it can look stiff and distant. So here's the massive challenge for Jared. How do you build a real partnership when your wife's main loyalty, both personal and professional, seems to be tied to her father? Look, in the Trump universe, the power dynamic is simple. Donald is the sun, and everyone else is just in his orbit. We're told this put insane pressure on Jared to constantly prove his worth. It's a total wild card that would strain any marriage. It's not just a relationship, it's a competition. And Jared's main rival might just be his own father-in-law. All right, let's talk about what happens after the White House, because this might be the biggest clue of all. They survived 4 years in that DC pressure cooker, but now we're hearing they want completely different lives. Jared made it crystal clear he was done with politics. He bounced down to Miami, started a massive investment firm, and started raising billions. And get this, that includes a controversial $2 billion check from a Saudi fund. The guy is all about building a global empire now and staying far, far away from the cameras. But Ivanka? That's where it gets complicated. She released a statement saying she's choosing private life with her kids, but we're not so sure. Because just this year, January 2025, she was on a podcast saying she hates the darkness of politics, but loves policy. Come on, we all know what that's code for. The whispers in DC have been around for years that she has her own presidential ambitions. And that's the fundamental clash. Jared is building a golden off-ramp for the family, paved with foreign cash and a quiet life in Florida. But we're hearing Ivanka is still secretly looking for the on-ramp. Right back to DC. A source told Radar Online that Jared thinks a political comeback would be a disaster, calling the Trump brand radioactive and a threat to his business deals. So don't get it twisted. This isn't just about what job to take, this is a full-blown battle for their family's entire future, and they can't have it both ways. Alright, next up, let's talk about the insane pressure of being two of the most watched people on the planet. You gotta remember, before DC, these two were the toast of the town in New York City, hitting all the A-list parties, rubbing elbows with the elite. Those days are over. The second they took those jobs in the White House, they basically became social kryptonite in those liberal high society circles they used to run in. So they packed up and fled to Miami, probably looking for a safe space, but the media glare just followed them south. The paps are on them constantly. Every trip to the beach, every dinner, it's all photographed and ripped apart online for clues of trouble. Living under that kind of microscope can completely wreck a relationship. It either forces you to unite against the world, or you start turning on each other, blaming the other person for your life getting blown up. And for these two, there's no privacy. They can't have one off day. A normal couple argues, these two argue, and it's a potential headline. And that's the real story here. We're hearing the constant pressure cooker lifestyle is systematically destroying Ivanka and Jared, the actual people, even as they desperately try to keep up the perfect image of Javanka, the brand. It's a battle they're fighting on two fronts, and from the looks of it, they're not winning. Alright, clue number 7, and for this one, we're digging back to the very beginning, to the one huge sacrifice that we're hearing is coming back to haunt them. We're talking about Ivanka's conversion to Orthodox Judaism. Now, this wasn't just some weekend class, this was a year-long intense ordeal. Learning complex Jewish law, completely changing her lifestyle, keeping kosher, observing Shabbat, the whole deal. At the time, they sold it as this beautiful love story, but let's be real, this was after they had already broken up over the exact same issue. The word has always been that this wasn't a choice, it was a non-negotiable demand from Jared's family. Basically, you convert or there's no wedding. She had to change her entire identity just to be with him. And now, years later, with all the other storms they're weathering, you gotta wonder if that sacrifice is starting to feel like a raw deal. Think about it. In the middle of a screaming match, how easy would it be to throw that out there? I changed my whole life for you. And get this, even her own father, Donald Trump, reportedly called it out. We're hearing he asked Jared straight up before the wedding, why does she have to convert? Why can't you convert? That question says everything. It puts a spotlight on how one-sided the deal was from the start. It's an old fault line that, under all this new pressure, could be about to shatter. And finally, the last clue, and power. After they left the White House, their paths went in totally different directions. Jared went straight for the big bucks, launching a monster private equity firm that's now managing billions. He's wheeling and dealing all over the world, cutting massive real estate deals in places like the Balkans. He's building his own global empire, and he's not looking back. Meanwhile, Ivanka's living that lavish life in Miami. But sources tell us the tension is at an all-time high. We're hearing they fight about everything, from date nights that suddenly turn into real estate site visits, to the constant speculation that she wants back in the political game. And that's the core conflict right there. Jared's empire depends on smooth international relationships, but Ivanka's power, it's tied to the Trump brand, a brand that's all about America First nationalism. You can't have it both ways. His global business and her political legacy are on a total collision course. So while they're still smiling for the cameras, we're hearing it's a constant tug of war behind the scenes. A battle between a global fortune and a political dynasty. And the billion-dollar question is, which side is gonna snap first? So there you have it, 8 massive clues. And the picture they paint is pretty damn clear. From the ice-cold stares in public, to the deep-rooted family drama, to the fact they're apparently fighting over their entire future, it's a lot. That carefully polished image of Javanka's perfect life, it's not just cracking, we're hearing it's about to completely fall apart. Their story was supposed to be a modern fairy tale about power and money, but now it's looking more like a high-profile train wreck about what happens when fame and politics get toxic. So now we gotta turn it over to you. What's the real story here? Is this just a rough patch for a couple living under an insane microscope? Or are we watching the slow-motion implosion of one of the world's most famous marriages? You've seen the evidence. Drop your verdict in the comments below. Is this thing over, or is there still a chance?